of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
And Mr. Cabrera.
I am here. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, the notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice of this meeting time change in the Bulletin Board of Borough Hall and by mailing and e-mailing same to the Herald of Cape May County and the Press of Atlantic City on February 16th, 2025. In the event of an emergency, the emergency exit is the back door, our front left, your back right, or just by the American flag. This meeting is being shown live here today. Just want to do a sound check with Vicki. Are we good to go? All right. On the borough's YouTube channel and also stream live on the borough's Facebook channel. If you want to make a public comment, you're more than welcome to call into the meeting by dialing the access phone number 888-363-4734. And when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 1699020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. In the event you watch the recorded version of this meeting and you would like to make a statement or comment, you're more than welcome to telephone our clerk at 609-729-8040, or you may email her at clerk@wildwoodcrest.org. Speaking of our clerk, Madam Clerk, we have an introduction of ordinance.
Yes, sir. We have an ordinance, and it reads as follows. An ordinance to establish Cap Bank for calendar year 2025 pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Motion that ordinance number 1448 be passed on first reading and advertised according to the law, be brought up for second and final reading, public hearing on March 12th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Motion that?
Second.
Yep.
Motion second.
Yep.
It has been moved and second that ordinance number
Thanks.
1448 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on March 12th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have the resolutions. The first is authorizing introduction of local budget of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, County of Cape May, New Jersey, for the fiscal year 2025.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing certification of compliance with the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records in employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Motion it.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing a shared services agreement between the Borough of Wildwood Crest and the Cape May County Municipal Utilities Authority to review, sign, submit the 2024 Annual Recycling Tonnage Report.
I'll motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure for pool system service contract under ESCNJ mainline commercial pools at the not to exceed sum of $27,000 for the Public Works Department.
Motion it.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing the appointment of health insurance brokerage consultant for the year 2025 as a professional service contract without public bidding.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing certain appropriation transfers.
Motion it.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure to purchase beach boxes for the beach under state contract.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is exercising option to extend 1-year extension of contract for Crest Bicycles LLC for bicycle concession number 3 at Heather Road for bicycle rentals only, Borough Concession Agreement number 2021-003.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is exercising option to extend 1-year extension of contract for D.R. Bradley's Bike Rentals LLC for bicycle concession number 8A at Rambler Road for bicycle rentals only, Borough Concession Agreement number 2021-002.
Motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing refund of property taxes or utilities overpayment made payable to CoreLogic.
Motion it.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing resolution number 25-67, which authorized the appointment of one Class 1 police officer to be rescinded in totality.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is accepting the 2025-2030 Wildwoods Urban Enterprise Zone Development Plan and authorizing its submission to the Urban Enterprise Zone Authority Board.
Motion it.
I will second. Yes.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is authorizing increase of contract in the amount of $17,999.94 to Huber, Inc. for Kubota tractor for Public Works.
Motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Thanks, Judge.
You're welcome.
Okay, brings us to our public safety reports. We'll start with Captain D'Amico.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Commissioners, Mayor. Chief's on his way back from a trip, so you guys are stuck with me for one more week, so I apologize in advance. Before I get into some highlights from the report that the Director of Public Safety, I just wanted to take a quick moment and address a question that was raised during the last meeting in regards to the onboarding of 2 members of the police department. There were some questions that were raised by one of the residents in terms of when those officers were brought on board, when they were hired full-time, and it was his impression that we weren't going to hire any additional full-time staff in 2025. So I know that Commissioner Schiff had addressed some of those questions during the commission meeting. However, I had a chance to talk with Mr. Marino after and offered a little bit more clarification to him. And I felt it was important that we share some of that information with the general public so everybody has an understanding of what transpired during that hiring process. So in August of 2024, the police department received support from members of the governing body to enroll 2 recruits in the full-time residential academy. Both those officers were hired and entered the academy with the intention of them becoming full-time members of the department. However, as we recall, at the time we were having some discussions, internal discussions around the structure and composition of the police department. So those recruits entered the academy under 2 separate classifications. Both were employed by the Wildwood Crest Police Department throughout the academy. However, again, they went through with separate set classifications and statuses. By January 2025, we were able to come up with a plan for the future of the department, the structure and the composition of the department, and we were able to amend the status of the second officer that was hired and went in to the academy in 2024. We had a swearing-in ceremony in January of 2025, just to formalize the appointment and to celebrate their achievements and with their family and their friends. So while I understand that there might have been some questions and, seeing the Facebook post from our swearing-in ceremony, there might have been questions in terms of when that person joined the department. I just wanted to clarify a little bit so that we could understand both persons' positions. So I understand that Mr. Marino had an impression from seeing the Facebook post that that officer had been hired and onboarded in January. However, understanding Commissioner Schiff and the full backstory of that process, I think we can see that that officer was joining the department and hired in the department in August of 2024. So hopefully that helps to clarify a little bit of that information and bring everybody on the same sheet of music as we move forward so that we can put to bed that question. That's all I have on that topic. For the month of January, for the the report to the Director of Public Safety, the Police Department responded to 1,103 calls for service. 477 of those calls required multiple officers to respond. We conducted 19 criminal investigations, 195 service calls, including alarm, citizens assist, fires, medical assist, and school-related activities. We also conducted 219 traffic-related calls for service, including 105 motor vehicle stops with 23 traffic summonses issued. There were 302 property checks conducted and 480 training hours. We also had 6 adult arrests during the month of January. That is all I have from the report to the Director, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Captain.
I'm good, thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody from the public? All right. Next up, Lieutenant Haber.
He just wants to reiterate everything the captain just.
He covered everything so well.
All right. Mr. Cripps?
Doesn't get old with you.
You have them. Good morning, everybody, administration, and the public. Reports for January, Wildwood Crest EMS. We have 50 calls of service, 17 transports, 2 refusals, 29 standbys with fire, 1 medical, and mutual aid. We went to Wildwood once, North Wildwood and Lower Township, which is Lower Township / Diamond Beach, 3. We've been benefiting from this File Life program. We've had a lot of inquiries. I appreciate the governing body's support, as well as Brian Kniff, our PIO, for help get us that information out. So if anybody has that, we'll be out there. We've had people come to our building, which is nice. I haven't seen this since I've been there, but come in, blood pressures checked, and we've had phone calls of people just asking us to come over to their house and do that. So that's been good. And Office of Emergency Management, I want to commend the governing body for giving homework. You guys, thank you for that support in regards to administration, because there's some things that we're getting back into play that haven't been done in a few years. So in regards to OEM, obviously meteorologists are 99% of the time wrong, so we're having an early meeting, because the original, so we always continue to monitor, and the support of all the department heads regarding OEM has been fantastic. And again, the training's going to continue, myself and the deputy. And that's all I have for my report.
Bill,
So-
thank you for, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank you for keeping us informed. It seemed like you were texting us, calling us every day.
Well, no, I mean,
That's
like I
great.
said,
I really
we don't
appreciate
get too
that.
much to do, and I mean, it's a good thing that we don't have that much. And again, when emergencies happen, whether it be weather related or incident like we had, we just never know. So unfortunately, this borough is prepared, but there's things that we've all agreed to find that we need to just improve, and that's what we're doing. We're taking this and taking that wrong and moving up one more for you guys.
The more
and for the public.
The more information, the better. So I appreciate it.
Bingo. I
Yeah,
agree.
just so the public knows, the meeting today at 9:30 was changed from 5 as a result of the forecast, because on Sunday and early Monday, the forecast was not looking good at all. So to meet the meeting notice requirements, we had to make a decision by Monday morning or Sunday night. So the decision was, in the interest of safety, obviously, to move the meeting to today. So I just want to make sure, for the record, that everyone understands why the meeting.
No, agree. So we put that out there too to make sure, because I know, I'm sure people were, going to come in at 5 o'clock, but thanks to Patricia's guidance with that notification, I wasn't aware of that, which now I am, that there's that 48 hours notice that has to be done, especially at 9:30 if you're going for the 9:30 a.m.
Right,
So.
and I think Mr. Cripps also sent us our homework, which I believe we all took and passed,
Yep.
right? Did we get a framed certificate or something with
It
that?
should have been emailed. We
you
can
got-
get it larger if you like.
What's-
3 attaboys, right?
Yes, 3 out of.
I could probably have to go into my personnel file.
We're not good at that, so.
Yeah.
Well, again, like you said, it's what's been done in the past, and next meeting, I will be submitting the EOP is completed, emergency operations plan, that the state of New Jersey had a grant done. We had a company come in, a third party, did a phenomenal job, assist us, as well as county as local EMs, and EOP is officially completed. It's up to date, so it'll be sent to you folks, the governing body, for signatures. And then once that is in, you guys can submit that into the resolution.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, pray for spring.
Yes.
Okay, need a motion for accepting the minutes.
For
Meeting-
reports.
Reports, yeah.
Reports.
Motion, all reports received from the court administrator, chief financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, fire prevention, emergency service coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company chief for the month ending January 31st, 2025, be accepted as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that all reports received from the court administrator, chief financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, fire prevention, emergency services coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company chief for the month ending January 31st, 2025 be accepted as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion to all minutes from the commission's meeting dated January 22nd and February 5th, 2025 be approved as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that all minutes from the commission meetings dated January 22nd and February 5th, 2025 be approved as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to the engineer's report. Mr. de Blasio.
Okay, thank you. A couple of capital projects to update the commissioners on. The Bayside Bulkhead Replacement and Flood Mitigation Improvement Project is going on hot and heavy, as you can probably see by the work site and the contractor mobilized out in the site at this point. The contractor has completed all of the underground storage system piping and has substantially started to complete the bulkhead replacement on Primrose, Myrtle, and Sweetbriar. We continue to try to accommodate the public and the property owners as best as we can in this invasive type of construction. Second item is the DCA fiscal year 23 Small Cities Program Municipal Building Bathroom Improvement Project. As you can see out in the hallway, it's ongoing. The contractor is currently working on the drywall and finishes, and so far so good, no major issues on that project. The fiscal year 24 DOT reconstruction of Toledo Avenue is proceeding on schedule and acceptably. The contractor is working on the replacement of the sanitary sewer, water services, and concrete curbing in various stages in the project. That project is scheduled to be completed in time for the summer. And last item, although not in the report, I just forwarded the email over to the mayor and to Francine. Congressman Van Drew has opened up funding applications, federal funding opportunities, similar to what we did last year for the two flood mitigation projects. So that's a discussion topic for us to identify a capital project and submit that to the congressman. That is my report.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of our of our engineer?
Great job, Mark.
Public, any questions? Anyone in the conference line? So I just want to touch base on the second part, under grant applications, the boardwalk preservation fund. So just to keep it on everyone's radar. So we received, Francine, correct me if I'm wrong, 1.1 million, roughly round numbers, for the improvement of our fishing pier. Along with that, what we were also discussing this the Army Corps DEP dune, because originally, and I'll talk about this here a little bit later, there was some dollars allocated for through alert credit if we were to move forward with that project. Now those dollars from the state, that credit or hard construction dollars, never materialized. In fact, it was, in my mind, kind of rescinded as part of the project. So here's where we are. We have 1.1 sitting in this boardwalk preservation fund. We have the open space that's waiting for potentially an application from the borough to to renovate the existing pier or potentially build a new one. Now, the current design takes the dune, if we were to move forward, underneath the current pier, which I'm not sure is a good idea or would work for this municipality. Nonetheless, I just want to make sure everyone knows going forward that we have this grant money. We have until 2026 to use up those funds from the Boardwalk Preservation Fund. But in the meantime, we need to start thinking about, okay, if we're not moving forward with the project, or if we are, how are we going to handle the fishing pier? Because that's something that spoke with Public Works. There is some, the dunes there are wet, and they're eating away at the wood, because the wood's been there since, I think, I'm going to say 2006. That's the original construction when we revitalized the pier almost 19 years ago. So something we're going to have to address in the future, but I think we just kind of take it day by day as we see how the DEP dune unfolds. Okay. Anything else there, Mr. Blasio?
No, that's
All right.
it.
Let's go on to correspondence. There's been no correspondence. Discussion items nothing listed under new business. Under the bicycle safety bike path, we had talked about that. Again, we have a CAFRA permit that we're looking for potentially down the road, a larger scale project. We are looking at, but maybe there's some I forget what you call it. What's the name of that paint?
You're talking about that.
That thermo?
Yeah, thermoplastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something on there will remove the mileage markers that Recreation had put on there. Maybe there's something that can be done there. 250th birthday committee. I don't believe we had any more volunteers, although we did have a presentation yesterday at the Arts Pavilion by Rita Rothberg that went over very well. She spoke about the Cape May County during the American Revolutionary War, and also the Battle of Turtle Gut, which took place at Miami and New Jersey Avenue in that area. Municipal app is a budgetary item. Old tourism building use. I believe when's the
The 25th.
bids are due in on February 25th. Historical Museum is on hold. Concession agreement, hotels, beach chairs is on hold. Traffic calming, I believe that's part of the iBank program in terms of improving some streets. We do have some dollars allocated for some pedestrian crosswalk striping and so forth. So I'll coordinate with public safety to help us determine which areas could use some attention. Back beach excavation. Part of the Army Corps program was to raise the back part of the beaches by the bulkhead and slope it towards the back end of the dune. So that project would not be happening if we do not move forward with the dune project. However, in meeting with Public Works, our CFO, and Mr. de Blasio, we believe that under our current beach maintenance permit, we can do this work in-house. And I believe, Mr. de Blasio, between engineering and Public Works, you're going to kind of survey it and put some flags up there so that the Public Works can move the sand pursuant to our beach maintenance permit to the back beaches to help raise those areas and hopefully save maybe $250,000.
Correct. So we have to survey the beach anyway to provide an updated annual survey to comply with the DEP's permitting requirements. As part of that process, we're going to coordinate with Steve and Public Works to stake out those areas so that the back beach can be filled.
Yeah, I think Stanton, Stockton, and Farragut are the worst areas, if I can remember the lowest areas as I recall.
Yep.
So more to come on that, but we have some time. They'll start moving sand around before the summertime.
And Mark, I'd like to thank you for staking out the Heather Road for the dune system, and people have gone there to take a look at it, so I think it was very effective, and I appreciate that. It helped out a lot
Good, thank you.
on the visual, especially for me.
And on that note, there's a drone video coming as well. That'll kind of capture everything that we've been talking about. I mean, we can sit up here and talk about it all day long and read words on a paper, but for most people, including myself, I'm a visual person. You guys kind of want to see it.
Absolutely.
All right. New Jersey Avenue infrastructure pre-county. I know CFO Springer is working on a capital projects bond, and that is one of them. Public Works roof. Mr. Shear, how are we doing down there with Public Works roof?
They're in the interior portion of the work now.
Okay.
Exterior's done.
All right, any idea when they're going to be done? Originally, I think it was going to be the end of January, but I know the snow will
Projected to
come.
be done, I think we're 8 working days left for them to complete.
Okay. All right, Washington Seaview Beach Fall outfalls and capacity, we're still waiting on the official word from our grant writers and FEMA. Okay, so that's the Army Corps DEP duty. So we had talked about that at the last meeting. I'm gonna go back and kind of do my best again to summarize where we are. There's been a lot of news articles, there's been a lot of meetings, there's been a lot of emails from the public, from the state, from the Army Corps. So we are at a position now where we as a municipality need to make a decision as to what we're going to do. So there was a state aid agreement signed ballpark 2001 based on, I think it was the 60 or 65% plans. As the details came out in the 95% plans, after an engineering review, after we all had a chance to review it, after surveying it, after seeing and hearing the negative effects of taking the width of our beach and making it smaller as a result of them taking the sand from borrow areas A and B and C. We met with the state on December 16th, 2024. We met again about 2.5 weeks ago here in this room. They made a presentation to the municipality. We did not get a chance to ask all the questions. We sent all of our questions to the state, which they responded to. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review that. I was up, actually read most of it again last night. There are some things that I don't think we got the answers that we were looking for. I think there's some things that are still kind of open-ended. The biggest takeaway that I think the state offered was that they committed to not taking sand from borrow area C, which is the borrow area almost back to the back beaches. So I don't believe they would have had to take sand there anyway, because our concern is taking sand from borrow area A and B, which is basically in the water, and to visualize it, roughly almost to the first platform on the fishing pier, if you're using that as a kind of like a visualized, point of reference. So it would no doubt significantly shrink our beach, and we had the beach surveyed by Mr. de Blasio's surveying crew, and that affirmed and confirmed our belief that the beach would in fact be getting smaller. The DEP says, hey, we'll come back in every 4 years, we're going to re-nourish this thing. We potentially may have to do a similar project to keep taking sand down to North Wildwood and also to keep your dune intact. We asked the question, well, where's the money coming from? They said through Congress. Congress said if there's no money allocated by Congress, then there's no money available to re-nourish the beach, which in the end will come back to our taxpayers. So I think it's safe to say we all share the same concerns. I go back and continue to reiterate the points that Wildwood Crest has a dune system. Wildwood Crest has a beach that's 1,000 to 1,500 feet wide, depending on certain areas. Wildwood Crest has great ADA access where folks that have disabilities or just need to push a stroller or what have you down to the beach. We spent millions of dollars to do that to help with grant money. And quite frankly, I think that the public enjoys the beach exactly, and our residents exactly the way that it is right now. So anything without any formal guarantees by the DEP or the Army Corps, I don't think works for the municipality. And I think it would be risky for us to move forward on a project without those guarantees. So in the meeting that we had 2 weeks ago, although I thought the email was a little loosey-goose in their response, we asked the question, what would we need to do in order to not move forward with the project? And correct me if I'm wrong, then, they said, you just need a resolution, right? We just need a resolution. So I think that if there's any concerns, we should talk about it now. If there's anything in favor of the project, we should talk about that now. If the decision collectively, and I think based on body language and the questions asked, I'm not putting words into my fellow commissioners' mouths, but it seems to me that the borough is not interested in moving forward, and we should be looking potentially at the next meeting, putting a resolution on the books, formally withdrawing from the state aid agreement and from the project. So that said, I'll leave it up to my governing body members to make any comments.
I agree with you there, Mayor. I'm fully against the project. And I actually have to say the correspondence we received from residents, I haven't seen any that are in favor of this project. If anything, they all have been negative towards having this project move forward. So they're also our constituents, which we have to listen to. So I haven't met anyone that's in favor of it, and I agree with them, so I'm not.
Okay.
I have to agree with that. After going through all that one meeting and then looking at the blueprints ourselves and finding out that it wasn't what it was supposed to be, and there was changes in there, and I think it will affect our community. I'm quite in favor of not moving forward with it, although the only thing that I'm concerned about is the DEP coming back against us with other projects. I think we have to be prepared for that situation to happen, because for a reaction, there's a reaction, and I'm concerned about what that reaction will be for our community. But at this point right now, I'm 100% with my fellow commissioners that we need to just say no.
Your concern would be retaliatory?
Yes, sir.
Retaliatory?
Yeah, and I think we all have that in the back of our mind.
Well, and it's definitely reality. I think that the DEP, if they look back of, Wildwood Crest has always been playing within the rules since I've been here. And there's been some human error that we've been trying to correct and work through, i.e. the beach, the dune area. But nonetheless, as long as I've been here, we've always been, a great partner with the DEP. So I'm hoping that
continues that way.
I'm hoping that wouldn't be the case, but nonetheless,
Just something to be aware of. That's all. That's all I'm just saying. But I agree with you.
Okay.
That's that way.
Yeah, and then you said one of the things that some of the things I just want to again bring forward is that the back beaches we're going to have to address ourselves with the sloping, hopefully through our own beach maintenance permit and in-house, because that was one element. And then the aspect of the lure credit for the fishing pier. So basically, the fishing pier we're going to have to deal with on their own. Either originally when we signed the agreement, there was supposed to be a lure credit, and again, I'm going to use round numbers. When we calculated it, we thought it's going to be roughly $2 million, right? So not going to be able to do that. So we may have to downsize any upgrades or improvements to the fishing pier. But that pretty much the Army Corps and DP will have nothing to do with the fishing pier. So we have our pier. It's definitely something that we need to put on the radar, and we talked about it at a capital meeting, but we're going to kind of wait and see how things play out. Okay, so Madam Clerk, I think safe to say at the next meeting we would like to have a resolution on there formally withdrawing from the state aid agreement.
Very good.
Okay. Last on the agenda is on the under old business is Borough Hall renovations. Mr. Rogers had recommended an architect. I believe there's a meeting this Friday to kind of talk through and just like overview the project, and then assuming that the governing body moves forward with when he puts together his proposal, wants to put it together. One of the things that I think is important is to have what I'll call department head meetings with the architect, so that everyone can talk about where they're missing. Do they need storage? Do they need space, all desk space? Do they need another bathroom? Or whatever we need, we just need to build it into this plan. And I think the structural report, we never move forward with that too. So I guess part of this will be the structural integrity. If there's can this building handle any more weight or not?
I thought we, did we do that? We had asked for that, but I don't know how far that went, or I think
It went
our
as
last
far.
architect was supposed to be doing that.
It went as far as a walkthrough and a draft proposal, but then it stopped.
Yeah, because I remember the walkthrough.
Yeah.
And while we're on this topic, I'd like to thank Public Works for helping the police department start rearranging, and they've done a great job on the floors and some of the rooms that need work on, and we appreciate that.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for under old business. Governing body, anything else you want to go over, talk about?
No, Mark, if you can, just shoot me over the numbers for that whenever you get a chance for this project.
For the evaluation?
Yes. I know we
Okay.
did one a few years back, but I don't know if that has changed and if we're adding anything or subtracting anything. I know there's a safety issue that Commissioner Schiff brought up, so I definitely want to address that. But the overall scope of it, I'd like to see the actual figure at the end.
So what we'll do is we'll have our preliminary conversation, I guess, Friday, and then determine the next steps, which would be, do we engage the architect to do a preliminary assessment, or are we going to jump in and do the whole assessment? So that's going to be a decision we're going to have to make.
Because I'm unclear on what exactly is being
I think everybody is right at this point, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it's, I know it's, if it's this side or police side or both or the whole building itself.
I mean, my understanding, it was going to be the whole building.
Okay.
Well, the exterior. The exterior.
Well, if we're going to go
But
back.
the police side is to get rid of some of that choppiness, because it is.
Yeah.
So we'll flesh all that out Friday, but my understanding is we were going to look at the whole building, interior and exterior, and if there were any spatial needs that we were going to discuss potentially using the area in the rear and build new.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I think part of the process is, as we go through it, I'm personally aware of the storage issues, choppiness over on that side, the exterior, the brick, you can see the cracks, you can see the roof is in bad shape.
Yeah, part of the previous discussions were looking at going back in the, I guess, the parking area where the police are, and building a new building as an addition to where there, I guess there's a shed there now, or a storage building, and creating space there. That's why we were supposed to redo the parking lot, but we held off on that because we didn't want to repave and make improvements and come back in and hack it all up. And then that kind of died, so.
Yeah, I think the need is to assess first and then see what our costs
Yeah.
are to move forward on it.
So eliminate the parking.
Maybe we could
No, there's,
stage it,
yeah, there's, so,
stage it out.
right, so there's a building there now.
Right.
I think it's storage and some weights are in there. The conversation piece was in lieu of trying to build a second story on this building, which has its challenges both structurally and inconvenience-wise, to actually utilize that space. I'm sure everybody is familiar with when you build new, it's easier than renovating, right? So the thought was, if there was,
I don't want to bring that one up again.
so if there was a spatial need, instead of trying to patchwork something here, maybe it might be more cost-effective and convenience-effective to build something new outside of the building and then connect to the building. So those are all the conversations that would be spurred with the architect.
Yeah, that building would be faster, just knock it down and build a new one.
Right, as opposed to like trying to put a second story on this building and ripping HVAC equipment off,
And
and
attached to this building.
it's just, it's
Probably more cost effective, I would assume.
1,000%,
That's the route I would like to go.
unless agita,
Because you never know what you get.
correct.
It's like a box of
Okay,
Thanks, Mark.
So, Mark, can I ask you, who's the architect? Do you have one yet?
The architect that we recommended is Jerry Blackman from OSK.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not aware of him, but thank you. I just wanted to know who it was. Appreciate it.
all right. Governing body, any other questions? Comments, old business, new business? Anything? All right, we'll go to public comments. We'll start with anybody here in the audience. Just come on up to the podium. We just need your name. Do not need your address. Nothing? All right, anybody in the conference line have any public comments? All right, hearing done. Commissioner comments?
Yeah, I'll go first. All right, going back over what the captain was talking about, I feel there's a need to respond to questions about the public safety budget, and particularly spending on the police department. And in the interest of transparency, I'd like the community to know that the public safety budget accounts for the volunteer fire department, EMS services, beach patrol, traffic maintenance, county dispatch services, municipal courts, and of course, the police department. The police department accounts for a little over half the public safety budget allotted, which is consistent with years past. The public safety budget services the largest borough workforce of all three commissioners and ensures that lifeguards are on watch throughout the summer season, officers are out patrolling our streets, firemen and EMS respond to our calls for help, and our roads are kept safe. The budget had addressed hiring, retention concerns through the departments, equipment to meet today's needs and those of tomorrow, as well as many other factors that elevate safety through our town. We have heard various percentages and dollar figures thrown around during the past few meetings, but I want to point out that each department budget is agreed to by all members of this commission and vetted with the public as we are preparing to do so once again, and has remained stable and consistent throughout the years. We are on track for yet another modest increase of our 2025 budget with less than 0.01 cent increase, which is unbelievable. I have never exceeded the funds allotted to public safety during my time in office, and I've worked alongside my fellow commissioners to ensure taxpayer funds are safeguarded and wisely spent. I am proud of all my departments and will continue to support their efforts to keep Wildwood Crest safe, and I appreciate the support that I've been hearing from the public about how things are being run. Francine, I appreciate your work and everything you've done to help us continue to stay within our budget and also to keep us in line with our taxes. I'm very proud of that, and especially of you. And Trish, you do a great job too.
Thank you.
And Mark, in case I forgot, you do a great job too. So I just thought I'd thank everybody. Thank you.
What about me?
You're okay. We're still working on it. We're still working on it. I think you're right here for our budget. It's all good.
Just to piggyback on what Commissioner Schiff said, the budget was introduced today, and we're under a penny, as Commissioner Schiff said, so, which is fantastic in my opinion. So if you own a house that's $650,000, your increase would be about $63. That's a little less than $16 per quarter, which in my opinion is phenomenal because your services are continuing to be stable and not go down. And my fellow commissioners made the appropriate cuts to get to that percentage with the help with Francine, Trish, and all the department heads. So I think we're doing a hell of a job with our funds. And after looking at all that, that's all I have. I know we haven't adopted it yet. It takes a few meetings to do that, but I'm satisfied with the budget. So congratulations, good job.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles and all their fans. I was one of them until midnight that night.
Good
Go ahead,
ones.
Jason.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
That's
but I remorse not to remark about Brian Kniff's son who scored 1,000 points last night. I just wanted to make sure that the community was aware. I thought that was very good. I always find that is just really an outstanding job. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir.
That's all right. And everyone had a great Valentine's Day and the President's Day. With respect to the budget, yeah, I think one of the things that I always look for is the amount of surplus that we use and the amount of surplus that we put back. And we are holding firm and with the same trend that we've been doing over the many recent years. Roughly 50% goes in towards the budget, and we're regenerating almost the equal amount. So that tells me that public staff, department heads, are not using every penny of their what's allocated in their budget, which is good. So they're tightening their belts. There was some cuts that we had to make to get to under a 1 cent increase for this time. Francine had a gun to my head and said, "Start making cuts with a red pen." So Superintendent Shear and Frankie Bazil, you can get mad at me later, but I did make some cuts, as did Commissioner
I
Schiff.
think we did.
Don't blame Murray, don't blame me for
Yeah.
that.
It's all good. So, but thanks to the department heads, thanks Francine, thanks to everybody. One of the great things about this municipality, as small as we are, is we do work together, and we do have fiscal responsibility at the forefront of our thought process, i.e. the Dune project. That said, I don't have anything further. Next meeting will be
March 12th?
12th,
And we adopt the budget March 26th at 5 PM.
March 26th. Anybody who wants to speak about the budget, come on out. Francine and our auditor will be here to answer any questions, as well as the governing body. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
I'll second, Trish.
All in